up, everybody? Welcome back to another Thursday episode of Clapback Culture. I'm your girl, Jules Jessie, and I am so glad to be back. Happy Friday Eve, everybody. If you haven't already, please make sure you share the stream on whatever streaming platform you're using tonight. Let somebody know Clapback Culture is on, okay? I don't know if you guys saw in the comment section today, but listen, we have a show on the menu for you. A few things that I want to talk about tonight is I want to talk about the whole Drea pregnancy announcement along with Joey Chavez. I don't know if you guys saw that tonight, but we want to dive in and talk about that double standard. So that's going to be our clap back tonight. But listen, stick around because we have so much to talk about. But again, drop those comments right here in the chat. I want to know what y'all was talking about this week. I want to know what we're doing. And I want to know how your week was. You feel me? So let's go ahead and dig on in. Of course, let me open this up. Boom, here we go. All right, you guys, I have a little bit of a clip. Remember last week we talked about Don Lemon. He settled for that $24 million settlement as it relates to his departure, his settlement from CNN. Child, not only did he get the $24 million settlement, but he was supposed to take the Don Lemon show over to X, formerly known as Twitter, ran by Elon Musk, honey. Well, listen, he did an interview with Elon Musk, and Elon was feeling some type of way about the questions. I have a short clip for you that I'm going to play. Tap into the comments. Let me know what you think about this. Stay tuned. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about it.
Hi, everyone. Elon Musk is mad at me. And I just put out a statement about what happened between him, me, and the interview that he is apparently so upset about. But make no mistake about this. This is going to be my first episode of the Don Lemon Show this coming Monday, March 18th. So make sure you tune in. This does not change anything about the show except for my relationship with Elon and X. And there's a whole lot that went down, and I'm going to tell you about in the coming days. I know, though, that many of you were not happy that I was doing this in the first place, and you told me so. I just want you to know that I did this deal because not only do I believe in free speech, but I believed that this was the best possible chance for the work that I'm doing to reach the largest amount of people. So speaking of free speech, right, I thought the first person interview, no brainer, Elon Musk, the man who calls himself a free speech absolutist. I asked him to do it. He willingly agreed to the interview. Throughout our conversation, I kept reiterating to him that although it was tense at times, I thought it was good for people to see and hear our exchange and that they would learn from our conversation, learn more about him, learn more about me. But apparently, free speech absolutism doesn't apply when it comes to questions about him from people like me. What did we talk about? Why is he so upset?
Listen, if you guys have not caught that interview, it's a good interview. Good in the sense that Don Lemon is just one of those reporters that are really journalists, I should say, that really goes in. And one thing about Don, he's not going to close his mouth for anybody. But Don, why you worried? Why are you outside working right now, brother? Guess what? $24 million. I will be somewhere where the sand is white, the waters are blue, and the sun is shining high. Listen, Don, you didn't put in the work, brother. We don't need you to be out here on these platforms. Now, here's the thing. If you want to, Don, and this is your thing, cool, we're all here for it. But I love that he continues to speak truth to power, especially with Elon Musk, because if you are the voice of saying whatever you want, why is it that you feel some type of way that Don is asking you these tough questions? We do have our co-host in here right now, Big Rado. Let's go ahead and bring him on into the show.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, Rodney? Welcome back to Clapback Culture. Happy Friday Eve.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Friday Eve. Tomorrow is not Friday quite yet.
You know, it's crazy because being as though it's been warm outside, it's been feeling like a Friday to me. So
yeah,
when you said that it was just natural, like, okay, it's Friday.
Listen, the weather has been good. You know, we're talking about Don Lemon right now, and I don't know how you feel about him, but he got kicked off the platform of Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter, because he gave a really tough interview to Elon Musk, and Elon was not feeling it. I played a clip for the audience, but you know, listen, we have a lot of people streaming right now. Let us know what you think about this. Like, Is this? Do you think Don should just continue what he's doing, or I mean, what's your thoughts on this?
So I mean, for me, I know you saying like Don, you got that 24 million. What are you doing? Why are you still working? I think he should still work. I don't think there's anything wrong with him working. The man loves what he do. He is a great representation for people of color, and I'm here for it. I am just fairly confused, man. You know, I'm always pro-black, right? And I know you're gonna hate me for the things that I say, but I just feel that there are the powers that be that will not allow us in any kind of way to have a voice. You know,
Yeah,
to have a voice of reason, to have a voice of significance. And Don Lemon is one of those guys that have given us a voice. It wasn't by coincidence that he was fired off the air for something so less egregious as what he said before. I mean, he's been on the air 20 years for CNN. You could just imagine the things that was said.
yeah,
But for the littlest thing, he was fired, you know. And Don Lennon, I mean, I don't want to say he became more popular, but he was definitely on the news a lot more, and people were paying attention post COVID. So, you know, everyone was watching the
you think
news.
so?
Yeah, for me it was because
Okay.
during COVID, a lot of people were just stuck in, right? And people needed information. This was the first virus that's in our generation that's ever been out where people needed information because everybody was scared. And
Yeah.
there were only two networks. You were either with Fox Network, and I don't even know what to call them. I don't know if to call them liberal. I don't know if to call them I don't know,
Conservative.
conservative. I don't know what to call them. I just call them Fox because they have
Very
this
conservative.
yeah, because they have this view that is overly conservative on how they feel the world should work, and they see things through the lens of a rich person's of or upper middle class economy.
Mm-hmm.
So blind to the issues of black people. So it's kind of like there has been this, I would say, this debate to saying that Fox was white America and CNN was black America. And you could, you know, you can deal with it however you deal with it. But Don Lemon, a lot of people did tune into Don Lemon. He had a very strong opinion when it came to George Floyd. He had a very strong opinion on police brutality, and there was a lot of things happening over the whole post COVID, and there was things happening prior to that. But again, remember, I started off with my premise saying that people were watching the news a lot more because they were in the house. So
Oh,
Don,
got it. So you're just saying people watch the news more in general. I would agree with that.
I believe he got twice as popular as he was 20 years prior to COVID because every
Don Lemon is one of those guys, like he's so good at what he does. And I
yeah,
think he continues to show us exactly who he is. And I'm just so glad that he did not bow down to the powers that are Elon Musk and all of his like power, richness, and influence. Like he don't care nothing about that. So shout out to you, Don Lemon. We know the Don Lemon show is going to come out on some platform. You really don't need X. Like you could do it on any platform that you want. Go ahead and hop on YouTube like us, Don. If you was on Facebook, Twitter, you know, I guess you can't even do TikTok anymore. We'll talk about that soon. But listen, whatever platform you're going to, Don, we're gonna support you. Okay, pull up in that shade room. Maybe we'll take you there.
Don Lemon for president.
Period. Period, Pooh. Listen, I know you're gonna really like this topic right here. So, Louisiana just became the 28th state to allow people to carry a concealed weapon without a permit. Not only without a permit, but without getting training. The Louisiana House of Representatives gave its final approval to the Senate bill on Wednesday, the 28th of February. The bill has already passed the Senate, but this is crazy to me. Representative Mike Johnson, he's a Republican from Pineville. He carried the bill into the lower chamber and said that Louisiana residents are terrified because of crime. And so they're doing this because they're using it as a tactic for public safety. He says that people are fearful. They're afraid to go to the grocery store. They're afraid to get in their car. They're afraid to leave their house, and they're afraid to stay in their house. So, this proposed legislation, this new law, you guys, is going to allow people 18 years or older to carry a handgun without a permit. So, you can have a concealed handgun, no permit, no training, no none of that. And this is legal. Um,
Yeah.
The government is saying this is going to allow them to defend themselves against criminals.
So this is crazy. I don't like this. Not because I don't want people to be able to defend themselves, but because it's freaking Louisiana. Louisiana, Louisiana has a very, very high crime rate. There's a lot of gun assaults or assaults with deadly weapons on a regular basis. How do I know this? Because data shows that some of the most violent cities in the United States is Washington, D.C., Chicago, Louisiana, and St. Louis.
Mm-hmm,
At
mm-hmm.
some point, we're going to have to figure this SHIT stuff out because
Yeah.
this is just nonsense right now. And I really, really hope that other states with high crime don't really adopt this, right? And I know I sound biased because there's always those exceptions to the rules. But
Mm-hmm.
we can't really do a lot of things for the exception to the rules, guys. We kind of have to do it for those guys, that for the majority. So let's just imagine this. I'm from Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Part of in my part of the city, it has the highest assaults with deadly weapons or with guns, right? The highest in gun violence. Imagine DC becoming a state and everybody being able to just walk in the store and buy a firearm. What does that do for our economy? What does that do for our society? Nothing. It makes it worse. And I just feel that they are allowing people to have these guns without teaching them how to responsibly use a gun,
Yeah.
and basically showing them why they should have a gun. You have
Why
these,
would anyone want to, like, why would any state want to allow folks to purchase a gun without going through any training and without getting a state issued permit? I mean, we're leaving money on the table. That's number one. It
yeah,
opens it up to, like, you have someone who can just go in with their ID, purchase a firearm,
yeah,
and it's like it's a free for all. Listen, I'm all about people having the right to bear arms.
mhm.
And the thing is, it's like, why wouldn't we just do the basic? Like, this is the law right now. The law right now is requiring that you have a permit and training. So why are we're stripping that away in the name of public safety? Because people feel scared to leave their house, they feel scared to stay in their house, they feel scared to go to the grocery store. So now are they gonna, so when they just feel scared, they're just gonna whip out this firearm that they barely know how to use? It
Yeah,
just is stupid.
set somebody out the frame. It's out of control.
It's ridiculous. So, you guys, let us know in the comments, what do you guys think about this? Are we getting too lackadaisical with gun laws? I mean, we
Yes,
time and time again, we're having these conversations about people shooting up schools. 18-year-olds go to schools. They're
yeah,
still in high school. They're still in college. I mean, these are very young adolescent minds. I mean, just because we're saying 18 doesn't mean that they have the maturity of somebody that can, contain their emotions. And we're going to get into this a little bit later, but I know there was this viral video of some girls in Missouri
mhm.
who got into a fight, and one is now a suffering from a brain injury, and they're looking at charging the 15-year-old as an adult. I mentioned that early in this, in our segment, to say, imagine if a 15-year-old had a weapon,
Mhm.
right? Imagine if they don't have the same negotiation skills, the same maturity, the same emotional intelligence in order to resolve conflict. And I just think, in the name of public safety, this is not a good way to move forward. In fact, in the name of public safety, we should just be getting more guns off the street. That's what we
Well,
should be doing.
well, it doesn't help. So throwing it. I mean, the data shows that throwing kids in the jail doesn't help. So we have this big case that's going on in Washington D.C. It involves a 15-year-old young male, aka his name is Baby K, and he had some issues with some of young kids in high school, and him and his friends decided to go on a bus and try to shoot one of the fellow young people on the bus. Well, the gun jam, and as a result, they are charging him with attempted murder along with several other charges. And it's a big case because this 15-year-old, it has been ruled that he's going to be tried as an adult.
Mm.
There is a lot of data that shows that the male brain isn't fully developed until 25, so
Mm-hmm.
26, and then you have me that say 30, right?
Yeah.
There isn't so, and obviously we know in Washington D.C. we have what's called the IRA Act, and what
Mm-hmm.
that act is it's an act that came out a few years ago, where a lot of individuals who were youth and
That
caught a
were
lot
incarcerated and charged as adults, but committed
of
their crimes when they were 16 and younger.
16 or
Um,
21, and they were able to pass this bill due to the information of basically that the brain isn't developed. When you're immature, you make a lot of immature choices,
yeah.
and then this is another case that this guy does not need to be tried and put into prison for 20 years. He needs behind in boot camp. We have to be able to channel that aggression, that braveness, that inability to think when the right way. He obviously is showing that he doesn't have the ability to control his emotions. Like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of men don't, right? Because they're so prideful. And we can't even say man because this is a kid, he's 15. So, we have to at some point save our babies. And I know that we are feeling like they out of control, but be like me. I think that these kids just need a good ASS whooping. Oh my goodness. I said this on a few shows before. Fathers and men need to step up, pull these belts out, and whoop your child. Embarrass them in front of everybody and tear their ASS up. At some
Well,
point, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, since we're on the topic, we might as well just shoot to, um, to this fight that happened in Missouri, because it's all in the same context. So there's a Missouri teenager fighting for her life right now, and she allegedly sustained a number of different brain injuries. The family doesn't know how bad those brain injuries are. This video has gone viral, shared thousands and thousands of times on social media, and it's they started a GoFundMe. There's over $200,000 when I looked at it this morning. They're looking to get $500,000. This fight got so out of control. I'm going to share the video with you guys. Listen, it is sensitive content. I'm giving you fair warning right now. It's a minute clip. Please look away if this is going to be too traumatic. So sensitive footage coming up. Let's take a look. I mean, it's an all out brawl, you guys. And Rodney, I don't know if you saw her actually slamming her head into the concrete, because
Yeah.
I saw you look away. Um,
Well, the thing is this, right? I'm gonna sound very insensitive with the comment that I'm about to have, and I'm only going to sound very insensitive because we do have a young person who's unconscious and a young person that's going through a lot of brain trauma. But it takes two people to have a fight.
yep.
This
Yeah.
person was fully engaged into this fight. The other girl got the better of him, and if the other girl would have been unconscious, we would have felt the same way. This is
Yeah.
what happens when you fight.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sound insensitive to whoever the parents are out there, but your child got whooped. And I'm sorry to say it, and I'm sorry that this happens, but this happens on a regular basis. People, kids fight. I would rather this than her being shot. And I'm sorry to say that too, because obviously, going through the trauma of us just seeing these kids pull out these guns, but it looked like a old fashioned brawl. Everybody seemed to be one on one. She wasn't jumped. I'm
Well,
sorry.
here's some background that I'll give you, and
Okay.
it'll probably speak a little bit more to kind of how you're feeling. Obviously, you guys, when we look at this video without having much context, like, we're thinking like, wow, like she really sustained some injuries. But social media in the comment section is saying, listen, the girl who is, the alleged victim in this went to the school to jump the girl who beat her up the day before. So this is a day 2 of fighting. And so the black girl got jumped the day before. They engaged in a fight the second day. And all of this is allegedly, because I'm just seeing it on social media, but I'm seeing it in an overwhelming amount of comments. So in some aspects, people are saying, listen, the girl who, is slamming her head on the concrete needs to file self-defense. She has been arrested. The prosecutors are looking at charging her as an adult. And this is just a tragedy in a sense that,
but why is she being charged as an adult? Like this
and that's how I feel.
This is what I'm not understanding. Okay, and
well, hold on, let me finish my thought. I know you're passionate about this, but I want to give you a little bit more context because I want you to go in.
Okay.
They're charging her as an adult, and not only that, they're rather than news outlets or the school didn't even take a position. The school said it's a tragedy anytime children are hurt. Bullying and fighting in the community is an issue for which we all need to take ownership and work towards a resolution for the sake of our children. I say that statement to you like that, Rodney, because to your sentiments, there are a number of people who are saying this is fair game, because when you engage in a fight, this is the type of stuff that can happen.
Absolutely. So there are a lot of bad things that happen, and then we get a lot of fights. Fights usually only really last 30 seconds, and people don't know that. But these are some of the things that happen in these all-out brawls, and there are no rules to this fight. What I've seen it was no weapons used, no one was jumped. It seemed like what we call a fair one. That is AKA a one-on-one fight. But if the contents is true in what you're saying, allegedly, that this girl was bullying her or came up to the school and jumped her before, then I mean, what are we talking about? And why?
It's
and no matter what happened, why are we charging it? Why do we have to charge someone as an adult, like
when they're not an adult?
Because you never hear an adult being charged as a kid,
right? And
so
I think for this, what's in my personal opinion, I think what happens a lot of times is that we see these videos and they're egregious. They're very difficult to watch. I mean, you're watching her literally getting her head slammed on the concrete several different times. She's convulsing on the video. No one's there to help her. And then there's a continuance of a number of different teenagers who are fighting each other and out with their phones and recording. Listen, this is the culture of our teenagers right now, and they have gotten enormously more violent than even when we were coming up. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like, what do you expect? They don't know how to handle conflict. They don't know how to resolve conflict. Even in the schools, the school systems, the administrators, the teachers, the principals, none of them even really know how to manage these kids. And I think there's a number of parents, and you probably could speak to this. There's a number of parents who are like, my kids are just out of control. Now, I agree that your kids should be able to defend themselves in this type of position. And a lot of people, there's another side to the argument saying, listen, you can shoot the fair one. Fighting is fighting. But when you go to slamming someone's head on the concrete, that is attempted murder. I don't personally see it like this. I think she has a case of self-defense in a sense that if it is true that the allegation of this girl coming to jump her on day 1 and they both agreed to meet after school to fight and engage in a fight, this is not one of those things. It's not attempted murder.
This is my thing, right? Because the law never makes sense. No one makes sense. Whatever charges they're bringing up on this black girl needs to be brought up on the other black girl as well.
You mean the
Everything
white?
that was done was the same. A punch to the face is an assault. A punch to the face can be misconstrued as an assault with a deadly weapon. It's happened all the time. Everybody is tomatoes. It's the same thing. Their charges should be the same. They both engaged in this fight. They both fought fairly, and one person sustained injuries. If it was vice versa and the girl had her face split open or was bleeding from her cranium, what are we going to say? We're going to say that was
Yeah.
attempted murder. No, if she wanted to
I mean,
kill
the girl in this case, she's really fighting for her life. Like she may not make it.
I get it, but at the same time, she also could have really killed this girl if she wanted to. She stopped. At some point, she could have went over there, kept kicking her in the face. She could have really. There are in multiple fights, people get so rageful that they have to be taken off of a person. Like they don't stop. You don't whoop a person and stop. I mean, you're people beat on people to the point where at the end of the day, they both was fighting. Charge them the same. You got one girl that won the fight and one girl that lost the fight. This girl wasn't walked down, bullied, and assaulted. No, she wasn't assaulted. She engaged in the fight. She was out here doing what girls do or what boys do at this age. And as a result, things happen. I mean, things happen. So I don't want to spend too much time on this thing.
Yeah, bad things do happen. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
My prayers still go out to the family. I apologize if you feel like I'm being too insensitive, but I'm also trying to be real. I have a daughter that age, and if it was my daughter fighting for her life, I wouldn't be pressing charges because my daughter engaged in the fight. I would be praying to God and hoping that she got out. But for the most part, I wouldn't want harm on either girl for having a teenage fight. Now,
and I think what you're also saying is like
brass knuckles or a gun. That's one thing. This was a fair fight.
Yeah. So, and I think what you're saying is like we need to look at both sides of the issue and hold everyone accountable.
So, but I want to go back to this, right? And again, prayers out to the family. But let's go back to the beginning of this thing because I really wanted to talk about Drea. I heard, so we got this.
Oh, you want to talk about that now?
We got this new. I mean, just 2 seconds, right? Because we got this new cougar age, right?
It's the whole. This is. I mean, I have it in the show. It's a whole clapback.
Okay, well, we're doing it as a clapback.
Yeah.
Oh, great. We'll wait till we get there because I got.
Okay, I know you want to get messy. Look, he ready to turn up and get messy, y'all.
Messy.
Show up to the show.
You know it.
All right, listen, we will. Okay, so I have another topic. You brought it up to us. Let me see. Do you want to talk about it? Do you want to talk about Airbnb and the global ban on a security camera?
Real quick. So look, guys, before we had, do you guys remember that story? It was the week before last, and we talked about the Airbnb owner. She got upset because the guy did something in the house. I guess he might have messed something up or didn't leave something clean. Oh no, he left a bad review. She got upset because the owner of the Airbnb got upset because the tenant left a bad review. So what she decided to do was send the guy's wife pictures of him with the girl. So he went to the Airbnb with his mistress and he was sneaking around and she sent pictures. She sent actual pictures to his wives. So it was just crazy. But now Lucy is going to introduce what's going on right now. As a result of this and other instances that was like this, right? No one likes to get sued. They are now issuing a ban for all Airbnb owners. You can no longer have cameras inside of your house.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of creepy stuff y'all on anyway? This is what I'm talking about. Women be creeps too. What are you doing in there? So you sit up here watching the whole family get undressed. And where are these cameras at? Why do you have cameras in the house?
Well, travelers can, listen, be rest assured because it's a worldwide ban on all of the security cameras that are inside these rental properties.
And that's worldwide.
Originally, Airbnb is basically saying, we want to streamline the policy so that people understand they can still have the Ring cameras and the other cameras outside of the home, but they can no longer have them in the living spaces, which in the past they were allowed to do. They were allowed to have them in like the living room, the hallways, but not the bedrooms and the bathrooms, etc. Me personally, having stayed in a number of Airbnbs, I'm definitely for this. And I'm also of the opinion that when you're using your property as a rental home, you relinquish a number of your rights. So in the case that we were talking about where she, used that footage to blackmail the guest and send the pictures to his wife, in this case, I think this is a situation where that could still happen because she used the Ring camera footage. She didn't use footage from inside the house. She took a picture of him at the door. Now,
I thought she. You sure? I thought she used footage of inside the house. She used a Ring camera.
it was a picture of them outside of the house coming into the house with the Ring camera. But nevertheless, I mean, someone could still do the same thing with indoor cameras.
Yeah, no question.
And I think, if you're running an Airbnb and you're super worried about somebody like tearing up your place, listen, go in the house, take your pictures and videos before someone comes in, and then after your guests leave, if they destroy it, take pictures and videos at the end and work it out. But that is the risk that you take.
I hate Airbnbs, man. I hope the Airbnb owner is watching. So let me tell you about the scams with Airbnb. My family uses it all the time. My sister, brother-in-law, like we're big on using Airbnbs or was. It doesn't matter. Airbnb is a setup. I don't care who you are. When you use an Airbnb, they are going to deduct some money and say that you broke something, that you scratched something, that is out of place. We have never been in an Airbnb. It don't matter if it was kids or just with grown-ups. They are going to charge you. This is what owners do, especially landlords. Let's just think about you renting an apartment, right?
They want the security deposit.
6 months rent. And that security deposit. Ladies and gentlemen, you're never getting your security deposit back. I don't care how clean you are. I don't care how much money you've invested into the home. You're not getting it back. So when you give them that first 2 months rent for $1,700, and then that security deposit usually matches the month of the rent, just say you just giving them 3 months of rent. Landlords, y'all should be ashamed of yourself. It does not matter. After you stay in the home for a year or more, there's going to be normal wear and tear. And I don't care how nice that house look, that landlord or that owner is going to come in there and look around and say, beep, beep.
Yeah, 100%.
Get this back. There's a small hairline fracture crack on the windowsill.
Yeah.
So I need $1,700.
Period. Well, I'm glad this is something. Listen, let's take a quick break. Really like a 30-second break. But when we come back, we're going to talk about what's his name? Dak Prescott. He's filing $100 million extortion plot lawsuit amid the sexual assault allegations.
Yes.
Listen, you guys do not want to miss this because we got the tea. We got the tea today. Stay tuned. You're watching Clapback Culture.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to Clapback Culture.
Welcome back. Time to get messy this half, y'all.
Time to get to the mess. So listen, you guys. I got Dak Prescott from. Is that how you say his name?
Yep, Dak Prescott. So Dak Prescott is the quarterback
for the Dallas Cowboys.
So initially, there was a woman who filed fictitious lies, right?
A sexual assault allegations
against Dak Prescott that were very fictitious. They were lies. Obviously, all of us men, we're always triggered by these things, right? Because women are allowed to make up these stories about us sexually assaulting them, right?
Well, hold on, give the audience more information. So let me tell them what happened for those who don't know, because a lot of us girls, we don't even know who Dak Prescott is. Okay, so allegedly, there's a woman named Victoria Shores. She claimed in the letter that Dak Prescott sexually assaulted her back in 2017 following the end of his rookie year, stating he directed her to the back of a black SUV where he exposed himself. She allegedly said that Shores allegedly told Prescott she didn't want to engage in any sexual intercourse and made sure to verbalize her wishes. Well, she says in the letter that, quote, you used physical force and sexually assaulted her by penetrating her vagina against her consent. These allegations were unfounded. Her lawyer was demanding $100 million from Prescott, while his lawsuit accuses the woman and her legal team of attempting to extort him with false, heinous sexual assault allegations with no basis in reality. So yeah, here we are. So give me the background. Was the lawsuit dropped and now he's filing this lawsuit, or is there just
There was
another
no
lawsuit?
No, so her lawsuit didn't make it through. I mean, there was no grounds. I mean, it was fictitious. It was basically there was no grounds of anything. She couldn't put together the time and place where they were. I mean, none of the stories added up. It was just a whole lot of baloney.
Yeah.
And as a result, now Dak Prescott is filing charges against this woman, right?
And I'm glad, and I'm very happy about that.
I'm very happy about that. I mean, at some point we have to. So there's this thing in the court, right, where people, when the judge sentences a person, one of the parts of them sentences a person is to deter other people from committing the same crime.
100%.
Anytime you see a person get sentenced, the judge will say that part of the sentence was given to deter the next person. And so that the rest of the community can understand what happens when you commit such an egregious crime of any sort. Well,
on the flip side,
some point they're going to have to fry. I mean, they're going to have to fry a woman with like 100 years for this, because there is another football player. I don't know his name, but I seen it on Instagram a couple of days ago, and he actually did 8 years. And it ate this girl up. He did 8 years. He was 16 years old. He was I'll get his name on the next show, but he was convicted of rape. The girl lied because she was embarrassed that she had sex with him, and he told everybody. And she screamed raped, and he was, he was locked up and sentenced to 30 years for the rape. And until a few months ago, she came out and said it wasn't true. And it's been eating her up. She couldn't sleep for the last 8 years. She knows she was wrong. Now she's married with kids. She could never see someone doing that to her son. So, but now you got this guy who
lost 8 years of his life, all his opportunities, and will still be forever.
He was a top 10 recruit to go to Alabama.
Yeah, he'll never. I mean, listen, I think there's always, to me, when people falsify information like this, especially in sexual assault cases, because we have huge empathy for sexual assault survivors. Like, this is one of the most egregious crimes that you can possibly, be a victim of. And I think Dak Prescott is really using his platform to raise awareness, to say, listen, not only do I support real victims of sexual assault, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and any money that I receive from this lawsuit, he's going to donate it to the Joyful Heart Foundation, and that's a nonprofit organization that supports sexual assault survivors. So he's not even looking to use this money for himself, for his personal gain. He's using this as an opportunity to say, listen, this is for real sexual assault victims, not a money grab, not an extortion plot to kind of take over. And we're seeing a number of athletes and really a lot of high, powerful, affluent men, or young men rather, become the victims in these cases where women, just blatantly lie. And again, it's not all cases. Obviously, there's real sexual assault survivors, but there's a number of people who cry rape, cry victim, and it does nothing but hurt more victims, real victims, from either coming out and speaking their truth, or two, just hurting men in general who are victims of people lying to them, because they'll never get their future back. They'll never get those opportunities.
You don't. So we spent an entire 2 years talking about what was my man name? It wasn't Deshaun Jackson. What's him? He's the quarterback.
The weird one who liked the Instagram girls to massage him.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
we spent 2 years on deteriorating and tearing this man up, and this man did nothing illegal.
Right.
This man paid women to have sex with him after his massage, consensual sex. And these women went out and filed all these lawsuits saying that they feel pressure. Every one of them came out and said they feel pressure.
One after the other.
One
Yeah.
after the other was cohort, was coerced by all their lawyers. Everybody got paid in this, and we do not protect men in any kind of way. I mean, we dragged this man's name through the mud for nothing.
Right.
For nothing. And we
Only
continue.
for it to come out that it was consensual sex. I mean, listen,
Yeah.
he had a weird fetish, and his fetish was that he wanted these Instagram girls to give him this massage, and he wanted it to end in
But
a happy ending.
it's not a weird fetish. Like for you, you're saying it's a weird fetish, but it's not. It's just a man that likes pretty girls. This is
No, what I'm saying is, but it's not just a man who likes pretty girls. No, it's not. This is the thing. This is what makes it different.
Okay.
His desire was specific in that he wanted to get a massage by a random girl on Instagram, and he wanted that massage to end in a happy ending. It wasn't like he was just soliciting.
That's how you see it as a woman. You ready for a male's perspective?
But it's no male or female perspective.
It is a male perspective because he's a male, and I can speak to that because I'm a male.
Okay,
we're not wired different. Anybody with that kind of money and access to be able to get massages from women, you're just looking at it as for the massage. He is just a trick. He's somebody that likes nice girls and he pays for their time,
right?
Because he has too much fame. Men with money pay for discreetness. So it's bigger than you just looking at the massage part. What you're not looking at when he needs a happy ending at night, when he's out of town, or when he's just after a workout. It's not about the massage part. This is just a man with money that like pretty girls and he paying for sex. It is nothing wrong with that.
There is nothing wrong with that, but there is a specific identifier, and there is the massage is a part of the deal.
Massage is how they is how they link the case. You will be a fool to think that he's only paying for pussy. I'm sorry, for vagina after a massage. Oh, you'll be a fool to think that this guy's paying for vagina whenever he could pay for vagina. So he's paying for it. He's paying for it in the morning. He's paying for it at night. They just was able to build a case from these massages, but men with money do it all the time. The Diddy's, anybody with money pays for discreetness. And a lot of women look at it and look at it as an opportunity to say, you know what? I'm going to tear this guy up. I'm going to find a way, which is why every man with money that sleeps with women make him sign NDAs.
But not every man does, which is where
most of them do. Yeah, most of them do. The ones that slip, like the Deshaun, like who we're talking about, of course.
Listen, if you are in a position of power, influence, and wealth, and you want to engage in sex and you want that discretion, then you should have a lawyer draft up your NDAs and reinforce the NDAs before it happens. Because guess what? A lot of these girls know exactly what they're getting themselves into when they're on their way there, right?
They all do. There is not some. They know.
I'm saying before they get there, send over the NDA, get an e-signature on that joint. You know what I'm saying? Send me send me your email. I'm going to send you over this NDA. Read through it, sign it. Once you sign it, come on over. I
imagine that's hard to do. So I imagine
no, that ain't hard to do. It ain't hard to do.
Listen, this is why it's hard. I imagine that a man of that status does it 50 times. I imagine he does it 50 times and is unable to do it on the 51st. Like I'm under the impression that he does it most of the time. And when he don't, it bites him in the butt. You know what I'm saying?
Well, guess what? I mean, do I feel empathy for that?
I do, because every woman is different. You got women that's just straight slores. So you already know.
And what is he?
No, it's not like that. What I'm saying
is like that. If he's sleeping around with multiple women, and it's so much so many different women that at the 51st opportunity that he forgets to get the NDA, but this flips up and then gets somebody who trick him.
This what makes the woman a slore and makes him the man of value. The women know what they're getting into. They want to be, they want something from him. They want to be with him because of that status. The man necessarily is not tripping. He's going to get whichever one is running up to him. So when
he's paying for their services,
he's paying for discreetness. He don't have to pay for it. He can get it for free.
Okay, well, if he is paying for his discretion, then it comes with.
I mean, it all comes with a price. It all comes with a price. But what I'm trying to say is that men of that kind of status, a lot of times they know when a woman is just a slower. Like, you know, when a woman is just so out of control that you can stop and be like, hold on, hey, sign an NDA. I'm about to have sex with this girl. You can say that.
Guess what? The guy is also
listen for a second.
There's nothing to listen to. A guy is also
you talk. You got to give me a chance to talk so you can understand what I'm saying. There are women that you could pull your phone out in front of them and say, hey, look, send me over an NDA. I'm about to have sex with this girl. And she not have an issue with it because she has very low standards. We all know what you're here for. And then there are some women that you have to tiptoe around because they do have some morals and values. You can't pull your phone out because she's shy. She's a certain way. And even though she wants to be with you in that kind of way, you can't just do that in front of them. Trust and believe there are women like that.
Yeah, but none of that matters. Guess what? If there are two, it's just like we were talking about with the fight. Everyone should be held accountable. If I want to have sex with you and you want to have sex with me, and in the middle needs to be an NDA, then cool. If you are paying for discretion and I'm cool with you paying for discretion, why is why is the male somehow better than the woman? Why does she have to be a slower, but then the man is just exempt? He's just high value. No, he's weird too, because he wants to sleep casually with multiple different women. And he needs it so much so that he has to have NDAs involved. So why is it okay? No. Hold on. Why is it okay for him to have 50 bodies, but she can't have 50 bodies?
Because she don't need an NDA. She's not the woman of value. That's why.
This is what I'm saying. But she doesn't now get to be identified as a whore because she has 50 bodies.
I said that there are women that are identified that way because of how they present themselves. There are women.
He's also presenting himself that way.
He's not. He has to sign an NDA. She has to sign the NDA because he's the man of status. She's a closet girl. She's somebody in the mall that's drooling over him because she understands his status.
Guess what? He's drooling over her so much so that he pays for her services.
He's doing that to be discreet. He's doing that because he don't want anybody to know.
But why so many? This is the thing. You can have you can have a handful of girls. You don't have to have a bunch of random strangers all the time. If you can have multiple women, you can be in a polyamorous relationship. You can have 5, 6 girls that you rotate. But when you begin to be so promiscuous that you have, 50, 60, 70, 100 people that you're just kind of absent-mindedly having sex with, I mean, you're shooting blanks at this point. And if you don't get those NDAs or whatever else, you're really susceptible to anything to happen.
But
they're looking at you as
the value of women have become very low because all they want is money. So it's not a man's fault that he
don't say that as a generalization.
It's real. It has become the norm that women belittle themselves so much that if a man is rich or has a certain amount of money, she will throw herself at him for that opportunity. And what's happening with celebrities is that when they come into rooms and they have these names like a Drake or a Jay-Z or a Boosie, and women know they have money, they want to hop on that bus with them. They want to do whatever.
And men are also perpetuating that.
Men are not perpetuating. Men are just accepting. No man is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're perpetuating it. They're allowing the culture and the environment to exist. A high value man doesn't exist with you. You think about it. There's never any historical context. What is a room of high value men if there's no beautiful women around?
Still high value men. What are you talking about?
This is what I'm saying. If that is your argument, there is no better service that a man could purchase other than a woman. That is what they want. If men are seeing women as a commodity, and then all of a sudden women are like, "Yeah, I'm good." Do you think the attitude of men would change?
I think the attitude of men would really change, but I don't see it changing because women make themselves too easy. If a man is having 10 different women run up to him and he can pick, okay, I'm gonna take you to, what value do you think he's going to have overall? That's what
But
I'm
why? But why are we not checking men? Why can't men check themselves and say, you know what, I don't
Why
want?
would it? Why would? What are you talking about?
Why wouldn't a man check
Why
his?
would a bee turn down honey? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Okay, so if you're just saying it's natural, then
It's
then
very
it's
natural. It's very natural.
I'm just saying, I believe if we're holding people accountable, then both adults should hold themselves accountable. Men, if they don't want to
Why
engage,
would a man hold himself accountable for a woman wanting to be with him? For a woman running up, for a woman being a groupie? Why would I hold myself accountable?
But why would you? But why would a man? Why would a high value man want to be with a groupie?
He doesn't want to be with a groupie. He wants to have sex with her.
But why doesn't he? But why can't he control himself?
He can control himself, but he doesn't have to because the sex is right there.
But why does he have to have the sex?
He doesn't have to have the sex.
But he does.
He does not have to have the sex.
But he does, and he pays for it, and he pays for discretion.
Oh, he's paying for discretion. That's a total difference. So,
but I'm saying, but he's paying for the discretion.
Yes, he's paying not to have the headache.
But why even? But this is the thing. If it's so crazy, then why not do it?
What you mean? Why not do it?
It's like if you're allergic to crab, but you really want to eat it, so you pop a Benadryl, like then you get allergic reaction.
But that's not a good analogy. We're talking about women that would belittle themselves and sleep with men because they are of high value or they have money or because they're rich. Women think they're going to get something out of it.
They do get something out of it, apparently.
Well, both sides get something. That's what I'm saying. But what I'm telling you is that it has become extremely easy for men with money to be able to do whatever they want to do with women at an alarming rate, and it happens every day, and especially with celebrities. And women have just lowered their standards to nothing. And you're seeing it on a regular day basis. Now, there are exceptions to the rules. But what I am saying is that no man is going to be responsible. When you say responsible in the same light as a man, then basically what he's going to say is that he needs to be responsible for housing her, clothing her, or being in a relationship with her. That's not the premise of this relationship. The premise of this relationship is you come into this hotel room, getting what you're going to get, which is sex, and then getting this NDA or getting a couple dollars for it. It's legal prostitution.
I think you should hold the men more accountable, but let's move on to the next topic, because I think that D. Robinson, who's saying if the risk is so huge, why indulge? But I think, to your point, it brings up the next controversy, which is this: Drea Michelle and Joey Chavez, both who this is baby number 3 for them, have announced their pregnancies, and sparked a debate over older women with younger men. So Drea is 39. She's dating 22-year-old Jalen Green, who is a huge rookie basketball player, signed a multi-million-dollar deal. Again, 22 years old. And when I tell you the comments are going crazy, they're calling her a pedophile, a predator. People in the comment section are saying, pregnancy is the new marriage. As a mom of 3 20-plus-year-old sons with 3 20-plus-year-old sons, this woman screams nasty. Someone also said, this is not a flex at all. Parents, protect y'all kids. If you a mother, teach your sons about women like this. Drea goes on her Instagram and snaps that, I feel like I'm at the bottom of a pile of heavy humans. Most hours of the day, I feel like I'm struggling to breathe. Now, Joey, she just dropped her announcement today, you guys. She's 35. She's dating Trayvon Diggs, who is like a huge multi-million-dollar athlete playing in the NFL. She also, for her, this is baby number 3, baby daddy number 3. It hasn't been confirmed that this is Diggs's baby, but a lot of people are assuming that's what it is. The comment sections are going off. One rich baby daddy is something you can imagine. 3, LOL, no child left behind. This one has 13,000 comments. 3 baby dads, just like my mom, shaking my head. One day, y'all will realize that you don't have to get pregnant by every man you date. Y'all on here talking about third versus baby daddy when men be having 10 baby mamas and 6 girlfriends. Leave this lady alone. A number of comments, a lot of backlash for these. I think it ties in perfectly to what you're talking about because, listen, the age gap is age gapping. There is, in my opinion, I don't see how any woman of a particular age could even find a connection with a 22-year-old at this age. They're kids. So for me, this could not be for me. And but to your point, are you rallying behind these men? They're over the age of 18. They're wealthy, but these women are older. They have previous relationships. They have 2 baby daddies that are both affluent. What say you to these young men who are in these relationships with these older women?
Should have made him sign an NDA, just like what you said. I mean, obviously, we all know what they have in common, and that's this gold digger mentality. And it's sad because these women are not going to cultivate the relationship. They mature enough to be able to teach these young men, to be able to help mold these young men, but they don't care nothing about them. They care about that check. And all you guys are going to come out and say, well, how do you know? How do you know she's not in her soft girl era, where she's in a point where she wants to calm down? I mean, it's not a coincidence. 3 baby fathers, all of them are well known. This is what they like. This is what they like. They like the attention. They like the limelight, and they went out and predatorily did everything they had to do. They put it on these young men. They showed them how to suck it from the back, from the front.
Come on.
They wanted to do. They showed them how to do everything that they wanted to do to be able to keep these men. And they did it. But none of these relationships will last anywhere after a year. So as soon as they have the babies, they will be with these young men for about 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
They will break up. They will put them on child support and receive their $25,000 to $30,000 a month.
I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. And my thing is, I just don't understand why these young men would even do this to begin with. Like, as a young athlete, you got to know, like, I mean, this is not a new concept, right? Like, getting these huge multi-million-dollar contracts and women coming out in the floodworks flocking towards you. I just don't understand how you even get trick bagged into this.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense to me. And maybe the touch of an older woman, the experience of an older woman, they can manipulate and negotiate the relationship in a different manner.
These women have over 20 years of experience of dating an athlete. They have dated many athletes, as you already heard. I know you guys already heard about how Gilbert Arenas, was basically having his way with Dre in the backseat some time ago. And they basically, other players have came out and was like, that's wrong. That's Jalen girl now, leave it alone. But Jalen is the laughing stock of the NBA right now, because so many people have been in sexual relations with Drea that everyone's basically like, wow, what is he doing? And it comes a time where Drea now is playing this victim role, and the only reason why I don't side with her being this victim is not because I'm a man and I'm like, oh, she know what she did, but the only reason why I'm like she can't be a victim is because she decided to start her life in social media and to the public since the age of 19. So she came into this 20 years ago, being on Basketball Wives, wanting to be everybody loves the positivity they get from the press and from people. But when it's negative, they can't take it. You got to take the good with the bad.
So how do we look at this on the flip side? Do you believe that there is
City Girls up 2000? That's how we look at this.
But do you think there is but I mean, obviously there's a huge double standard, because you see, like, celebrities like Drake dating, young girls all the time. Like, I think right now we just saw a picture of him dating Lotto's sister, who's like 21, and he's, well into his late 30s, maybe even early 40s. So there's no pregnancy there.
The difference in the two is that Drake has more to give, right? And I understand that we're looking at this as a double standard, but some double standards are here to stay, and they're there for a reason. If these women had more money than Jalen, and they were in this for the right reasons, I would be applauding them and saying, do the right thing to cultivate these relationships. But because these women are older, because they have sense, because they are doing this in a malicious way to make sure that they secure their future and do nothing but sit up here and show their behinds on Instagram, they have strategically figured out how to trap men and get a bag. And I don't agree with any of that, because you're going to break these young people heart. And now you're going to get a part of this guy's portion, and you don't deserve it. You don't deserve any of
Here's
this.
what I think, and we got to wrap it up because we're over time. But here's how I feel about these two situations in general. What we're seeing now is the lack of people staying in committed relationships.
Yes.
There is so much promiscuity. There is so much of a lackadaisical attitude towards sex, towards relationships, towards commitment, towards partnership. And I'm just not subscribing to this idea that we can be so non-traditional, so unconventional, that these are the relationships we want to have. I mean, I look at somebody like Nick Cannon, and I completely persecute him, because I'm like, you're creating all of these broken families. You're never gonna hold on. I thought to me, I feel like it's so, you're creating a number of different households, whether you can afford them or not, but you don't have those interpersonal relationships with your kids. You're not waking up with your kids. You're not able to take all those kids to school. You're dealing with a number of different personalities and baby mothers. It's unconventional. And while it is in some areas, people are saying like, oh, this is how they do it, but you lack the ability to raise your kids and have that deep interpersonal connection with them, because you have too many different women. And the same can be said right here. Drea and Joey, this is baby daddy number 3. Why are we creating broken families? Why do all your kids have a different daddy? Why, like, this is not, you're not dating and getting in a relationship to stay in a relationship and raise a family. You're getting into it because either you just want kids, you want to, sow your seeds everywhere from a man's perspective, maybe, or as a woman, you're saying this is an easy check, so let me lock this in. Either way, the outcome remains the same, in that these kids are going to reap the repercussion, are going to have to see the repercussions of their parents' actions. And I think it's immature, and I think it's highly irresponsible, and we got to do better. And I think we need to change the culture, and that we need to go backwards. Why is this what we're promoting? Why is this acceptable? And why isn't anyone saying like, nah, this is not a good look?
I agree with everything you said, but I do think Nick Cannon is doing a good job of taking care of his children. He has a open agreement with these women. Everyone is at the table, and I think he does a great job of taking care of these children. He's not creating. He's not a deadbeat. He's not creating broken homes. He's just sowing his seed. And
well, I mean, yeah, the same could be said about Jalen, right? Like, Jalen Green might be a great father.
No, but that's not what this is. He's been deceived, and I think that's a huge difference in the two.
But has he been deceived? Was Future deceived? So what about Future? He has a number of different baby mamas.
Yeah, but the same can be said. Future is deceiving women for sex, and when they become pregnant, he's bailing on them. So that's something that we respect. But Nick Cannon is having healthy relationships with these women and saying, hey, look, I would like a baby. This is what it's going to look like for the next 20 years. I'm going to provide. I'm going to give you X, Y, and Z. I want you to have a healthy relationship with the rest of the moms. I want this to be a traditional family. So I don't agree.
I mean, I think
but hold on, because this is done with a lot of Muslims. You have a lot of Muslims who have, different wives. And when wives don't agree with each other, they live in different cottages. They live in different places.
Compounds, not cottages.
Different compounds. So, this thing has been done. What Nick Cannon is doing is abnormal to Christians, but it's not abnormal to other people the way that he's doing it. But when you get into these relationships and there's deception in any kind of way, That right there is an evilness. That's what breaks homes. That's what breaks families. Because when you start with that deceit is a seed that grows and it sithers, and then it turns into resentment. And then it starts in the mom, that the mom goes to the dad and it pulls down to the children. And that right there is a good recipe for disaster and dysfunctional families. I'm going to leave you with that. It was such a great show with you, Miss Jules. When I'm not on the show, you can catch me at Rado007 on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. What am I missing? TikTok, and also Gmail, guys.
All right, y'all. You know who it is, Jules Jessie. Such a pleasure to be here with you on this Thursday. Listen, if you haven't already followed me, make sure you guys follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Treasurer Jules. Listen, pull up, follow me, slide into my DMs. Let me know what you want to talk about next week. Listen, it's been a great show. Let us know in the comments. Until next week, be peaceful. Oh, wrong.